Let me now take you through the research on the impact on emotions in case of sudden change. Of course, in the beginning, the motivation is right up there, pretty high, because everything is so normal. But as soon as the change hits, there is a impact on the motivation. As we see there, it drops, and it drops to a level that is impacted by the amount of shock the person receives. Therefore, this particular stage, it will be called shock. In shock, the person is stunned. He or she doesn't know what just hit them, and they might be non responsive for a while. I want you to reflect back on all those people whom you have seen undertaking such change and would be responding in a similar manner. Of course, I know about my buddy who was in shock for a pretty long time after he received the news on the accident. After a while, the research tells us that the person would like to come out of this shock state, and therefore he goes into something called denial. In denial, you see the performance motivation is rising up there, but that is artificial. Of course, as the word denial tells us, the person is trying to refute the fact that the change ever happened. They're not accepting it right now. In fact, they are looking for ways and means to prove that nothing actually has changed. In the case of my friend, he wasn't ready to accept that something like this could happen to him. And therefore, he was telling the nurses to do something to get him to the previous state. He told his family that this is not going to happen. He told his kids that this is not permanent. But of course, because change is the only thing that is permanent, as we know, even denial stage doesn't last for very long. Then comes a stage where you will see the performance motivation dropping, and it drops considerably. This stage will be called frustration. Frustration stage is pretty evident. You can see a lot of people undergoing frustration in the way that they behave. They're pretty angry at things. They might be even intimidating people who are trying to drive the change. Then comes another stage, which is called letting go. The letting go stage, right there at the bottom, is a stage which says, things are not in my control. I cannot do anything. I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to come out of this particular situation. You must have seen people who actually have let go completely. They behave as if they have no control on their lives. In the case of my buddy, he went through a pretty long stage of frustration where he was blaming everybody for this. He was not able to accept it, and eventually he lost out on complete control of himself. His family actually had to change his clothes because he never had the will. Now, after a person goes through a stage of frustration, and if he or she is able to manage out of this stage, then we come out in a stage which is gradually rising, as you see up there. The gradual rise actually denotes a period of testing. So I'm going to give it a name, testing. In the testing phase, the person who's undergoing this change is trying to sense the environment to see whether there is anything in this that is of any meaning to me. Can I go along with this change? Is it possible? Are there any opportunities? The way this person is testing the environment is pretty evident that this stage is a stage where you will find some failures, you would find some success stories. Now, if we are able to pass through that, we come to a stage which is called searching for meaning. This is finally a stage where a person has decided, let me go with this. Maybe there is something in this for me. Eventually, if everything goes well, we come to a stage which is called integration. In the integration phase, you see the performance motivation has gone up to a level where it was earlier or even beyond that. Therefore, such incidents such as disability, I never call it like a thing that is really unfortunate. because I've seen a lot of people who've come out of this even better than before. Haven't we heard stories about how people handled their own disabilities in life to come out and shine even brighter than anybody else who has those opportunities? So, that is a little brief on how the research talks about emotional change curve. Now, I'm going to be taking you through each one of these stages so that we get a better understanding on what a person as a leader or a parent or a family member could do to help this person navigate this change much better, faster.